Welcome to part 2 of my build. I just noticed that the part 1 video only recorded for like half an hour or so, like the beginning part of the tier 100 dungeon even got cut out. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna show you the stats and the paragon points, all that. Alright, for this one, sacrifice bonus, I went for Reaper, 15% increased shadow damage, but you can no longer risk out the warriors. On this one I went you deal 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. And the golem one I went for increased critical strike damage, 30%, seemed quite nice. Alright, starting at the skill tree. Reap, 1 point in it. By the way, I also tried decompose, but I don't know what it is with that thing, but it's supposed to do more damage than reap, but it really doesn't. And when I was using it, I was also using an aspect which says decompose now targets 2 additional targets, and that seemed to make it even worse, so I have no idea what's going on there. I was trying to use it mostly for forming usable corpse, but also that didn't seem to work that great. Sometimes it just didn't work at all, some enemy types. So yeah, reap is definitely more consistent. If it dies within 2 seconds, you gain extra attack speed. It's pretty nice as well. And reap forms a corpse. Under the first enemy hit can only occur once every 4 seconds, but it's enough, you know, once the build gets going, it's fine. Over here, we picked nothing, no core skills, don't need it. I know some people use this build together with Blight, but because of the gloves that I'm using, sending out skeletons, I don't feel like I need Blight. Which also made me think maybe I should try the aspect where you get 20% extra damage depending on your maximum resource. But the thing is, like, what do I take off? Like, I kind of feel like I need all of these. If I would take something off, I think I would take this one off, because I feel like I have enough movement speed to compensate for the movement speed boost. And I mean, the blood mist damage is quite nice, but I mean 20% damage, like, I might try it out in the future, you know, like if I get a better ring. Like I said, I had one with crit chance, crit damage, vulnerable and lucky hit chance instead. If I get that one, I'll try to put the other aspect on it and see how that goes. Test that out a bit. Alright, 3 points in Youth Flash, very important. Damage has up to 12% chance to create corpse at a target's location, and it's doubled against bosses. Blood Mist, I put 5 points on, just 5 points in just to get a cooldown down a little bit. This, I mean, yeah, you can overpower with this build sometimes, but it doesn't focus on it. So I mean, it's nice, but this one's better. Blood Mist leaves behind a corpse every 1 second. It's perfect. Corpse Explosion, again, I put 5 points in. I know you can have bands with extra corpse explosion on it, but again, what am I gonna take off? Maybe, I guess if I had a bit more all stats and I could roll this to... No, that's not gonna work on these bands anyway, because I'd have to roll total armor. But if I could get rid of damage reduction from close or damage reduction from enemies affected by shadow of time on this one and get corpse explosion on there instead, and then have these all stats on these chest pieces rolled to either one of those, the damage reduction from close or affected by shadow. If I could have that instead, that might actually be better. Also something worth trying out in the future. But yeah, 5 points of corpse explosion. This one increases its radius, pretty nice. And this one is even better, makes it become a darkness scale, and instead of exploding, it releases a vile miasma, dealing shadow damage over 6 seconds. Like, even though it says it becomes a darkness scale, it still counts as a corpse scale as well. Corpse, corruption, darkness. So that's great. Alright, 5 points blood mist, 5 points corpse explosion. 1 point in Grim Harvest, because you're not gonna need essence with this build, so only need 1 point. Good thing about this is as well, they used to have, they got removed now, but they used to have sigils. I actually still have one in my stash. Sigils that had primary resource burn. So this build wouldn't struggle with that at all. That was great. So yeah, only 1 point in there. Then the next one, Fueled by Death. We'll put 3 points in there. Increase damage for 6 seconds after consuming a corpse. Pretty nice. Next, 3 points in here. I mostly did it like not for the close damage. Close enemies take more damage. I mean, it is nice, but it's mostly about dealing less damage to me, like 9%. Quite nice. I put 1 point in here because I had 1 point left over, and I figured, well, 4% distant. It might be better to even have 3 points in it, because, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if those skeletons that I send out for the corpse explosion, if that counts as close or distant, because the skeletons hit him from up close, but I might be in the distant, so I'm not sure exactly how that works. I think it will count as distant, but yeah, again, I had a leftover stat. That was my choice. This one is more important to me anyway, for the less damage taken. You want 3 points in here. Deal 24% increased damage to cursed enemies, or you'll have 12% if you don't have +3 to amplify damage on an amulet. Which, by the way, amplify damage is nice, but if you can get Death's Embrace as well, that'd be nice. Death's Reach, Fueled by Death, be decent as well. Yeah, I'd say that's about it. Alright. The curses. You want 1 point in Decrepify and just a helmet with +4 on it. Or +3 if you got no other choice, but yeah, it's just nice to have that extra bit of damage reduction. Afflicted with Decrepify have 10% chance to be stunned, so that's another stun in there. Apart from the gloves. Enemies hit while afflicted with Decrepify have 15% chance to reduce your active cooldowns by 1 second. That's great. That's like the bread and butter of this build. Corpse tendrils, just put 1 point in it, because even if you would put more points in it, yeah, the cooldown might go down, but you're not gonna use it that much either, and you don't have to worry about the cooldown because it keeps on getting reduced by the Decrepify anyway. And 9 seconds, that's just fine, and the damage isn't really that great either. You're mainly doing it to pull enemies together, and slow doesn't matter either because you got the Decrepify. It's mostly about this one. Enemies damaged by Corpse Tendrils are made vulnerable for 3 seconds. It's great. That's your way to get vulnerable with this build. Alright, Reaper's Pursuit, just 1 point in there. I was thinking of maybe putting this one out before and just putting extra 1 in there, but I figured at this point I'd have enough movement speed. 1 point in here just for another layer of stun. I went for so much stun as well because I felt it would be great against, since this build struggles with world bosses sometimes, or single targets, I figured it'd be nice to have as many fucking CC layers as possible to stagger the boss. 3 points in Gloom. When you damage enemies with darkened skills, they take 6% increased shadow damage from you and your minions for 2 seconds, stacking up 3 times. Pretty nice. This one, darkened skills deal 9% damage bonus to enemies who are slowed and 9% bonus damage to enemies who are stunned or immobilized, and they can stack and they apply to shadow damage dealt by your minions as well. So I'm pretty sure every minion build runs that as well. Alright, this passive you want as well. Necrotic Carapace, that's where your Fortify is gonna come from. Fortify will give you damage reduction, so that's good. And chance to overpower. Next. Bone Storm. And your damage reduction is increased by 15% as well while it's active. Another great thing about it. And 20% increased crit strike chance. Really fucking great. Now you want because you got all these 3 sacrifice bonuses, you want all these skills as well. That's the only reason to pick these 2 passives if you have sacrificed your minions. So I basically have increased damage reduction by 18%. I have no minions, so there's no reduced effect there. It's great. And this one as well, sacrificing both skeletal warriors and mages increases their sacrifice bonuses by 60%, which is pretty nice. Alright, last, the key passive, Ossified Essence. Bone skill. What am I talking about? I'm sorry, I got mixed up with the Bone Spear build. Shadow Blight. Shadow damage infects enemies with Shadow Blight for 2 seconds. You and your minions deal 10% bonus damage to enemies with Shadow Blight, and every 10th time an enemy receives Shadow Blight damage from you or minions while affected by it, they take an additional, like, blah blah, 22% shadow damage. It's alright. Onto the paragon. As you can see, I don't need a lot of boards, but then again, I'd have to get a lot more all stats if I wanted to actually make the bonuses on the next paragon board, and these boards seem pretty solid. So starting off on the right, picking up Prime for extra damage, max life, all that. Every blue node around it for extra damage. Go up here, loop around, go down a little bit. Resilience, another 4%. Maximum life, don't care about the resistance because that's broken. That's another 4%, those blue ones. Right. Take all the dex nodes, because you're gonna put a dex glyph in here. I went for territorial in that one. 39 out of 25 dex. It's fine. Over here I just went for everything as well. Extra armor. Over here I didn't bother with this one. I just wanted to have access to the 5% extra damage. 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 Alright, going up to the next board. This board is called Wither. And you want that in the bottom right like I did. This one I didn't take for the potion healing, I took it for the maximum life again. Going to the right to actually pick Wither. Over here, Dragon Shadows. It's extra damage reduction, seem pretty nice. Then over on the left you got loads of interesting ones. For one you have another, like that extra layer of damage to affect shadow damage over time enemies and damage against elites. So it's great. More damage versus elites. This one over here, lingering shadows. Damage over time, shadow damage. It's great. It's a great. Alright, moving on to the glyph. Look at that control glyph in there. 128% damage to crowd controlled enemies. They're gonna be crowd controlled all the time because you stun them, you slow them with the decrepify. Like, it's perfect. 65. I know it's intelligence, but look at this. You get 65. That is a lot. Over here on the left, I just went for this one for the extra intelligence. Over here, I went especially over here for the intelligence as well. I mean, it's almost 10%, you know, can't ignore that. Intelligence, intelligence, intelligence. Over here, I just went for the shadow damage nodes. Don't need the willpower. More intelligence. Alright, that covers the Wither paragon board. Moving on. I went for Scent of Death. With at least 2 corpses nearby, you gain 15% damage reduction. With no corpses nearby, you gain increased damage. Either way is a good one. Alright, wait for the critical strike one. Don't care for the potion healing again. Then it went down here for the armor and the intelligence. And I went for a willpower glyph in here. Because I could get 54 points out of it. So that's 106.9% extra shadow damage. On the right. The only reason, like, this is another one, like, with damage to injured. The only reason why I went here was for the extra intelligence. Just to get a bit more damage, just 10 intel. Plus I need to reach these willpower nodes. So it just made sense. And over here I need to be down here for the willpower nodes as well. So I kinda had to take these. Moving up to Scent of Death. This one on here as well, again, damage to injured enemies, but it does offer 100 armor, and that's another 50. I know it might not seem like much, but it definitely helped me out, fix my armor problem. It needed to be like 7.5k plus at least, I feel like. This one I went to for maximum life. Maximum life, maximum life. Over here. Damage to healthy enemies, that's a lot better. And crit start damage. And I only took the crit start damage nodes here. I could go for a lot more damage to healthy enemies instead as well, but like I was a hardcore player in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, so I'm always kinda nitpicking with defensive layers, you know, like staying alive is infinitely more important than doing damage. Obviously that's important as well, but this board here is Flesh Eater. It's our last board. Consuming 5 corpses grant 40% increased damage for 6 seconds, and that's gonna happen a lot, if not non-stop. Make your way to the board on the left. Stifle, again, damage to injured enemies, but also critical strike damage. It's a lot better than this side anyway. Potion healing and life regen, who cares? Some more crit strike damage there. Went up and to the right to Flesh Eater. Then up here some more. Made my way to the glyph. And I put essence in there. For a total of 87.1% extra crit strike damage. And I went for these dexterity nodes and intelligence. I mean, this build runs on intelligence, so might as well. Dex, 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 more dex. This one is great as well. Extra damage to elites and intelligence. Then last, you want to move over here for some more armor. It's another 200 armor right there, and some resist. Alright, well, that's my build. If you're gonna try it out, good luck. Have fun mostly, because this is an immensely fun build to play. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope it helps. Take care. Bye.